What's up, everybody? My name's Parasite. Welcome back to the Jose Mourinho Challenge with Sporting. Today we have Benfica in the Liga Portugal and Dinamo Zagreb in the Europa Conference League quarterfinal first leg. I said last episode I was going to come back for Porto Zagreb, but when I looked at the schedule, I just completely overlooked this Benfica match. I can't not come back for this Benfica match. They are our closest competitors for the league. They are 2 points behind us. We are on the same amount of games played, so all things are finally even, and they are 2 points behind us. So right now we control our destiny. If we lose, it's out of our hands. We have to hope Benfica loses in this last couple of months of the season, and that's not something you can comfortably expect to happen. So we kind of need a result here. If I'd take a draw, obviously we've played them pretty well earlier on in the season away from home, but our last two matches against them, we've lost. The last game, I said it after it, you can just forget that game. It means absolutely nothing. We were down a man after 5 minutes. It wasn't representative of these teams at all. They dominated us in performance and result, but it means absolutely nothing. The game before that, they beat us 3-1 in the Allianz Cup. Neutral site, but again, the result, just like our first result against them, wasn't completely representative of the game. We were the better team. We had all the better numbers. They were just clinical. Obviously, that's what good teams do. They can play subpar games and get wins, but this is one of the games where we couldn't quite get the goals we needed. They made a few more plays than we did. But the first time we played them, away from home, a 5-0 win. But again, just like our loss, it wasn't as conclusive as that. We weren't 5-0 better than them. We were still better. So, I'm going to say all three. In the two games where we both had an equal number of players on the pitch and we're basically playing mostly full-strength squads, we were better in both. We lost 1-1, but we weren't significantly better when we won 5-0. We were just slightly better. They had two more shots, two less shots on target, zero point 0.2 less XG, yet we beat them 5-0. So this is a very tightly contested match. That's why I say I'll take a draw, because these are two very evenly matched teams. It's going to be a great match. Zagreb should be comfortable. Played 2 games since I last saw you. After that, demolition by Benfica. Played Nacionals, 2 pretty easy games, but should have been easy games. The results weren't super impressive. Based on that 6-0, 4-1, I'd expect a little bit more, but coming off a drubbing like that, you can understand why the players were maybe not quite playing at the best of their abilities, but a 2-0 win against Nacional, took a penalty and a Tomas goal in the first half, just kind of coasted through the second half, and then a 2-1 win against Aruca. We actually went down after 6 minutes, but Paulinho, I did a lot of rotation because this Benfica match was coming up and Aruca aren't good and we were at home. It almost bit us in the butt, but we still got the win. That's what's most important. Paulinho started. He got a goal. And then Tabata, another penalty in the 56th minute to eventually give us the winner. Plata played. Both backup central midfielders played. Bragança, Abisher, and Lugarte. Vinagre at left back. Obviously, Nuno Mendes is still injured for this match. He got injured in the last episode. He's still out. So he's a huge loss for us. Castillo played at right back. I played our starting center back pairing just because I thought they'd be able to be fit for this match, even if I played them. And they are. So we're missing, obviously, Nuno Mendes. Colomwani, not a huge loss, but Nuno Mendes, pretty big loss. I've said before, he's probably our best player. Maybe not in terms of how he's playing right now, but with his current ability being one of the best in the teams, and his potential ability being undoubtedly the best in the team, he's the best potential left back in the game. He's our best player, so we're missing him, but they're also missing a couple of key players. Nunez, a pretty good striker for them, is out with a cold, and Grimaldo, he's doubtful. We'll see if he plays. Obviously, that's a really big loss. If you compare him to Nuno Mendes, Grimaldo's been better this season. So you could say that's a bigger loss than Nuno Mendes is to us, but I wouldn't be surprised if they had a better backup than we do. Obviously, Vinagre is our main backup. I've never really rated him. He's actually not going to be the one starting today. If we go look at the team selection for this match, I'm going with Ricardo Esgaio because Vinagre played that last match because Reese was injured. Esgaio wasn't fit. And so it was either play him or Segovia at left back. And I went with Vinagre. I think it's probably the right call, too, based on how uncomfortable that match was. So he's not quite fully fit for this match, but this guy was a better player anyways. So he is playing. He doesn't have the best left foot, playing a little bit out of position, but he's still our second best option right now at the fullback position. So he's playing. Other than that, Tabata Santos, best lineup. Tomas still in some pretty good form. Paulinho Nunez center midfield. Everything's about full strength. Douglas Costa is just coming back from fitness from being injured. I'm still going to go with Plata on the bench. He's been playing well for us, and he's got more match sharpness, so I trust him more coming off the bench than Douglas Costa just coming off of an injury. Tavares going to have to come on the bench because, where is he? Abishir is just not very fit. Heavy match load. I don't think there's a huge gap in quality between Abishir and Tavara, especially based on how they played this season. Tavara actually recently, when he's got game time, has been really good. He's got 4 goals, actually, in the limited amount of games he's played, so that's actually pretty impressive. Abishir's played a crap ton more, and he has 1. So, Tavara's going to come on the bench. Paulinho, obviously, I'm not going to put Bale on the bench. I don't want to give him games. Other than that, kind of the expected guys on the bench. No Nuno Mendes. Skyler having to start, but I still think we could definitely get a good result. I'm looking for a draw at worst. If we lose, that'd be bad. That would be a terrible loss if we lost this game. I considered using the more defensive tactic. I really struggled deciding which one to play because we are at home, but it is Benfica. There isn't a huge difference between the two. Like the real main difference is the line of engagement and the defensive line. In our more defensive tactic, I dropped the line back a little bit and I play a little bit more supportive left back. Other than that, it's almost the same. Nunez goes to defend. Like I said, the fullback goes to support. Everything else is pretty much the same. So I feel like it's not going to be a killer if we play a little bit higher defensive line, a little bit higher line of engagement. I don't think for the whole match, giving them so much space with the lower line is a good idea against a team of Benfica's quality. So I'm going to be a little bit more aggressive. I'm going to kind of trust my players a bit. And we'll see if it pays off. This is your chance to exact revenge on Benfica after our last experience against them. We know that last match wasn't indicative of who we are. It wasn't indicative of how we compare as organizations. Let's go out there and show them who we really are. First highlight comes in the 11th minute. Not much has really happened. I think there's only been 1 shot in the game so far, and it's been ours. And it hasn't been on target. Nuno Santos goes for a long shot, nearly. He hasn't really scored. I don't know if he scored a single goal from outside the box this season. But that was close. 26th minute now. It's another highlight starting with us from a throw-in. Aguilar Gonzalez back to Aguilar. He's got 2 men on him. He's going to go for a cross. Ill-advised. But it does fall to Nuno Santos. Gonzalez, Tabata. A lot of space over the overlap for Rascayo, but he is on his weaker foot. So it's not a great option for him there to get to the byline. So he has to kind of pull it back. Eventually go out wide to Aguilar. He puts in a cross for Gonzalez. Back to Mateus Nunez in a great place. Instead he finds his Gallo. When I put him at left back, I didn't expect it to pay off like that. I didn't really factor that into my equation. Him cutting in on his right foot from the edge of the area and putting in a shot and scoring a goal. But I'm going to take credit for it nonetheless. I'm a genius. Escayo starts at left back for the first time this season, I believe. I don't think he's made a start at left back this season. Starts, and he gets a goal. 27 minutes in. I think that might be one of our first shots, if not our first shot on target. It is our first shot on target. And it's a goal. Good start so far, but they have 1 shot. I'm surprised it didn't go in because they're a very capable team with very good players in front of goal. Diego Costa, obviously, he's got all the experience, but we have Gareth Bale, and we saw what that means in terms of goals. So I don't know how much credit you can give him there, but Diego Costa is a natural striker, unlike Gareth Bale. Paulinho, though, thinks that he doesn't want to make him try that hard for it. He's like, here's a penalty. You need that extra bit of help. I know you're Benfica with Diego Costa up top and all these amazing players, so we'll give you a little bit of help. Here's a penalty, and it's going to be Diego Costa, of course, of all players to take it. And I would be shocked if he doesn't score it. 1-1. Hand delivered to them. Good play by us to get our goal. We hand deliver them a goal. So frustrating. We have not given away many penalties, and we've not had many red cards this season. But in our last 2 matches against Benfica, we gave them a red card after 5 minutes, and then gave them a penalty after 30 minutes. When you're playing teams of this caliber, like I said, we're very evenly matched. You can't make horrible mistakes like that, or you're just shooting yourself in the foot. That's what we've done in our last two matches. Obviously they're a great team, but we've done everything we can to help them get wins. Now we just need to not make any more mistakes, because obviously they take advantage of them. This could be a highlight with Tomas over the top. Nice ball from Nuno Santos. Tomas goes for the chip and he hits it off the bottom of the crossbar. That is a deserved goal. Showing Benfica what it means to actually deserve a goal. They didn't deserve that goal. They didn't deserve their penalty. Just a stupid mistake by João Palhinha. God, it doesn't really make many mistakes. He's a very good, experienced player. Tomas is on a ridiculous goal-scoring form right now. He started the season and he could not score in the league. But now he can't stop scoring. Getting close to halftime, 42nd minute, still 2-1 to us, and it's been a very even game still. XG is very similar. Obviously, some of that isn't... Well, that might be a penalty. That might have been a handball. I'm assuming that was a handball. I don't know what else it would have been. But we might have a penalty of our own. I was about to say, the XG is similar, but they're kind of exaggerated because of a penalty. But now we have one. It's probably going to be Zapata to take it. No, it's going to be Esgaio. He's already got a goal today. He could be on a hat trick from left back. You know what I said about helping out Benfica as much as possible? Hand them a penalty, then they make a mistake. Their first mistake of the game. Give us a penalty. And we're like, no, that's too easy. We have to make this as hard as physically possible on ourselves. This team will never get to the level expected of them if they keep making stupid mistakes like these in these kind of matches. I'm satisfied, but I want you to remain focused. It's easy to think the job is done. The only reason they're in this match is because of mistakes we have made. We cannot keep making those mistakes in the second half, or they can and will come back and tie us and possibly beat us. We have to limit mistakes in the second half. The way we're playing, if we can limit our own mistakes, we are in a good position to win this match. The numbers for us really are dominant. 11 shots to 2. They have 2 shots, 2 on target. One of them's a penalty. Pedro Gonçalves. This shouldn't even be close. This should be another 5-0. We've missed a penalty. We've given them a penalty. We've made so many mistakes to keep them in this match. And we're still up 3-1. I said we're very evenly matched teams, but right now we are not. The two teams playing on this pitch today, we are much better than Benfica. Without a doubt in my mind. The numbers say it. The result says it. Even with our mistakes. Are you freaking kidding me? Do we hate success? Does this team despise success? I don't understand. I think we have 3 red cards all season. 2 of them have come in our last 2 matches against Benfica. Fortunately, this isn't in the 5th minute, but still, early in the second half. We are doing everything we can possible to lose. But our quality has got us the lead. But now we're down a man, our quality means nothing. We are in a terrible position. We saw what they did the last time we were down a man. It was like we weren't even on the same pitch. Because we don't need goals, obviously there's a little bit difference from last match. We don't need goals this match. We need to hold on to a lead. Obviously playing narrow against them we did nothing defensively, so I think I'm going to actually take Gonçalves off, move him to right wing, and play this 4-2-2-1. Defensively, obviously not much changes. We just don't have that attacking midfielder, which is significant, but I could take off Tomas and just keep on Gonçalves as a shadow striker. I'm actually considering that. Gonçalves would still kind of be a goal threat as a shadow striker, but he would drop deeper and help out more defensively. Tomas, even as a pressing forward, he'd stay pretty far forward. Would mean we'd be better on the counterattacks, but I think I need the extra help defensively. So I am going to take off Tomas. It might be controversial, but I'm going to take off Tomas, bring on Plata, and play this. More defensive tactic, cautious, lower line. Do I go lower line of engagement? It just invites so much pressure. I'm going to go standard. Even though maybe if we're ever going to go defensive, this is the time to do it. We saw what happened last match when we were down a man and we invited pressure. They just overwhelmed us. So I'm going to play a little bit differently. Still going to look to counter pretty effectively, but we got 30, 40 minutes to hold on to this game. If we throw this away now, even if we just end up drawing, I'd be massively disappointed. Based on the performance of this team, this should have been a comfortable victory. But no, we have to make it as hard as possible. If we lose this match, it's season changing. That sending off could be a season defining moment. Just a few minutes in, and they're gonna have a lot of highlights. We saw it in the first matchup when we were down a man. They're just gonna overwhelm us. Look how high they're pushing. They're just going for it, and there's nothing we can do. We can just try to put as many men behind the ball and hope and pray. But Benfica are ridiculously good. Obviously, they're not Man City, but they're not too far from it. So, going down a man, we're just asking to lose. Just like we did in the last matchup, we're asking to lose. Hopefully we can get a better response from this team. Obviously, we only conceded 2 goals per half in the last match. Offside, thank God. We only conceded 2 goals per half last match, so if the same happens, we might draw, but I don't know, a little bit less time without a man. If we're ever going to score, that's how we're going to do it. Palhinha, very good in the air. A set piece from Pedro Gonçalves. That should do it. I think even down a man, they're going to be pushed like crazy, but we're good defensively. Even though we're down a man, we're good defensively. I think we should be able to hold on from here. And we are threatening from set pieces. That is how you come back and how you still play well down a man. You set pieces, almost exclusively offensive set pieces. So that could keep us in this match. That might have just kept us in this match. Defensively, we've been pretty good so far. They've had quite a few highlights, but they haven't scored yet. We've been down a man for 18 minutes, and they haven't scored yet. It's better than last time. So I have faith we can see it out. I do think taking off Tomas was the right decision. Just for that extra help defensively from Pedro Gonçalves, and he's still, if he was a playmaker or something like that, maybe I would have made the decision because we literally have no attacking threat. But he's one of our best goal scorers. Pedro Gonçalves is one of our best goal scorers. So we still have a goal threat. Pedro Gonçalves threw on goal to put it beyond reach. That is the response I love to see. Down a man, last time we folded. Couldn't do anything offensively. Couldn't do anything defensively. We've held on for 18 minutes defensively, and we've actually scored 2 goals. What a response. 5-1, down a man for almost half a match against Benfica. And they only have 3 shots since we've been down a man. I think we might have more shots after going down a man than they do. And we have 2 more goals. Nearly 3. Ignacio doesn't quite win the header. Still have a chance, though. Ignacio. Tabata loses the ball, but that's actually not great. Seferovic, pretty far forward, waiting for that pass, but Skyo doesn't do quite well enough. Seferovic does win it, but he's got no one in the box right now. Does come back to Rafa. Back to Seferovic. Not necessarily where you'd want Seferovic. You'd want him in the box, but he does eventually get in there. That's who you want to aim for in the box. Diego Costa, but he heads it wide. 80th minute. Up by 4 goals. Surely we can't throw this away now. What a response from this team. I'm so proud of what I just saw from this team today. I thought it was over. I thought we were going to lose. But they've been tremendous. Tabata, Gonçalves, both really tired. I guess I don't need a goal threat as that attacking midfielder position right now. I actually would have preferred if we would have had Abisher on the bench because he's better defensively than Tavara. Could have been a better pressing option. I could still move Nunez to attacking midfield. I think I am going to do that. Even though Gonçalves is on a hat trick, he's a very important player. I don't want to risk him getting injured. I don't want to risk him being too tired for future matches. So I'm going to bring in Matheus Nunez. I'm going to go to attacking midfielder support. And I'm going to bring on Berganza, who's very good. Or would I bring on? Actually, Berganza's better defensively than Lugarte, actually. Even though Lugarte is my backup defensive mid, Berganza's better defensively. And he's a little bit more natural of a playmaker. So he's going to come in. One sub after this, but I'll use to do a little bit of wasting time. Fortunately for Nuno Santos, his sending off didn't kill us. We were able to survive it, and we were able to thrive after, which is just so impressive. Against a team of this quality, a 5-1 win, and this one, even down a man, is deserving. The first match, we beat them 5-0. It was very even. This match was never even. The only reason it's even this close is because we had a sending off. If we had 11 men for this whole match, I don't know if we could have scored more. I think we've done really well to score those 2 goals. I don't know if we could have scored more goals, but they definitely wouldn't have been as in this match as they have been. This is a dominating performance by Sporting in a huge match, a season-defining match. Last sub, who do I want to take off? I think I'm going to take off Inacio. He's, of all the players left on the pitch, it's between him and Polina for the most key players. And I think Polina is more replaceable than Inacio is, so I'm actually going to bring on Segovia, make our last sub. Obviously, they're not coming back now. There's 3 minutes left, 2 minutes left. I just like to not concede. If we can go a full half with down a man and having a 2-goal advantage, 2 goals to none, that'd be the most impressive thing we've done since I've taken over as manager. Already, what they've done is the most impressive thing I've seen from this team as I've taken over as manager. What a performance. Unbelievable. We tried to get them in this match as much as possible. We did everything we could to keep them in this match. And yet, we rallied. They're actually go down a man. Obviously, it doesn't matter at this point. We rallied, and we got the win. Super impressive. Wasn't as close as that might indicate. We absolutely dominated Benfica. What a performance. I'm delighted. This isn't an easy rivalry to compete in, so that's a great result. We went down a man against Benfica, just like we did the last time we played them. And we could have collapsed. But we didn't. We held our resolve, and we played that much harder. We knew what it was going to take, and everyone on that pitch rose to the occasion. Down a man for nearly half of the football game, and you win that half 2-0. Just, I can't heap enough praise on you. That was an absolutely tremendous performance. You've been on a good run lately, but that was something else. Definitely was. When you have everyone doing what's asked of them, helping each other out, and doing the dirty work, it's easy. We deserve this. Taking everything into account, how big of a result is this? You know what? It's really a huge result. Because we did all the things we have to do in order to win, and to get our rewards. No questions about going down a man and still outscoring them 2-0. The greatest performance I've seen in a long time when you consider the quality of the opponent and what was at stake. What a match. What a match. Santos going to be banned for 1 match. I'm still going to fine him 2 weeks' wages, and I'm not going to appeal. We might have got the result, but that doesn't paper over how idiotic that was by Nuno Santos. Then, the team could have collapsed. I expected it. The fact they were able to do so well is in spite of Nuno Santos. He tried to lose us that match. The rest of the team said no. They would not allow him to ruin this match for him. So I'm not giving Nuno Santos any credit. He obviously had nothing to do with it. He hurt the team as much as he possibly could, and they rose to the occasion in spite of it. What a performance. Gonzalez man of the match, 5 key passes, 2 goals. Super happy with him. Tomas, he had to come off pretty early, but he played well. The defense played just fantastically well. What a result. Now we've got a match against, who's next? Braga, who's not going to be easy. That win is huge because the rest of the season isn't going to be easy. We face everyone in the top 9. I guess top 8, considering we're top. 2nd to 8th. We face all of them at the end of this season except for 7th place. I know who's sitting 7th, but we're not placing them. At least going into this match, that was how it was set up. But Braga, 6th. Porto, 3rd. Vizela suck. Famalicão, 9th. Rio Ave, 8th. Porto Minutes kind of suck, but Belenenses is 4th, and Maritimo 5th. That's not an easy run in to the end of the season, so we really needed that edge over Benfica. We need to give ourselves a little bit of room to drop maybe a few points at most, but because Benfica aren't going to drop many. That, given everything that happened in this match, what a result. Now, we got to do it in Europe. Should be a lot easier. Like, Zagreb, they don't compare to Benfica. They're good, but they still don't compare to Benfica, so based on what I just saw, I'm confident. Before we get to the Zagreb match, before we even get to the Braga match, in between, we've got our youth intake. It was supposed to be Golden Generation. Unfortunately, it didn't quite turn out to be that good. It's still a good intake, but I don't know if there's going to be any game changers here. The best player in current ability is João Carau, but he only has 3.5-star potential ability. Casal has 4-star potential ability, but only 1-star current ability. It's not as good as the youth intake we weren't here for, but it could have been worse. It could have been, absolutely awful. At least we have some players that maybe could become role players at some point. If we look at Corral, he says a midfielder, but it's actually most natural on the right wing. Wow, he's actually pretty good. Only 1.5-star current ability, but that's a very high 1.5 stars. Ridiculous teamwork and work rate. Good tackling. He's a decent passer, too. I mean, physically, he's pretty poor. Really good balance, but other than that, he's pretty poor physically. 5'4". I don't know what role. Obviously, we don't use central midfielders, and I think he's too good defensively to use him as an attacking midfielder. He's not a winger. He's just not a winger. So I'd retrain him as a defensive midfielder, and I feel like he can play either role. He's got the tackling and the work rate and the teamwork to play that more defensive role. Obviously, he's not tall or anything like that, but he can still play that defensive role. But he's got the passing to be a good playmaker from a defensive midfielder position as well. Like that's probably his best role. As a deep lying playmaker, he just is a little bit more defensive. I don't know if he really uses his work rate at the best of his potential, but obviously 18 teamwork for a deep lying playmaker would be amazing. So yeah, we'll retrain him. I definitely, more than when I first looked at him, I think he can actually be a role player for this team. I don't know if 3.5-star potential ability, he's never going to be a key player. He just doesn't have the potential to do it unless we're very wrong about his potential ability. But I'm actually a bit more excited about him than when I first looked at him. But Jose Gazal, another deep line playmaker, looks like. Again, he can't play defensive midfield, so a little unfortunate. Maybe he can play attacking midfield, so that could be his role. Again, not nearly as good. Not nearly as good. And he is going to be an attacking midfielder for us. Doesn't have very good tackling. Very poor marking. He does have decent positioning. Very poor physically. Passing's fine. Decent flair, so obviously he's not that shadow striker like Pedro Gonçalves is, but we use an advanced playmaker there as well. And he's definitely more of an advanced playmaker, I think, than a deep line playmaker just because of that flair. Doesn't have the best dribbling ability, but 9 isn't terrible for a player of 15 years old. Got a little bit of potential. Will he reach it in time to be a role player by the time we might be leaving this club? I don't know. But not bad. And finally, the worst of the best, Adelson Suarez, striker or right winger, only 1-star current ability, only 3.5-star potential. Fickle, really good passer, 15 passing. He is almost perfectly 2-footed, a little bit better right foot than left foot. 6'1", decent jumping reach. I probably would play him on the wings, not up top. Anticipation, composure, decisions, finishing, all pretty poor. Balance, he's not going to be a deep line forward, but balance, strength, pretty poor. I think he definitely fits better, even especially with that passing and teamwork. I think he fits better on the wing as either an inverted winger or a winger because he's almost 2-footed. I think he can do both roles. Does know that little bit deeper position, so we don't have to completely retrain him there. But again, he could maybe. I don't have a whole lot of expectations for this guy, but has the potential to be a role player. I doubt he'll ever get there, but everyone else not very good. No one above 1-star current ability and only 3-star potential. We'll look at them though. Really good handling. It's always nice to get a goalkeeper from youth intake, so Just at least to have for the youth teams. Really good reflexes, really good handling. Aerial reach, communication, and the command of area not bad. When you see some players that are first team quality that have around this in these areas. 5 anticipation and 6 positioning, extremely poor. Yeah, I don't think he'll ever be a first team player, but be a decent goalkeeper for the reserve teams or something like that. Alpha Mendy, another midfielder, but he can play deeper. Teamwork, I mean, he's just one of those players that his ability, being 1 star, is really overblown because of 3 attributes I don't put a whole lot of stock into. Obviously, I really like teamwork. Teamwork is good, but it's still not as important as something like passing or off the ball or physical ability or dribbling. Or it's one of the lower rated attributes for me, but still really good teamwork. Determination, again, not something I put a whole lot of stock into, so the fact it's so high doesn't mean a whole lot for me. Same for 18 bravery, 14 aggression. If he was really good defensively as a tackler and had the physical ability to be a ball winner, those would be important, but I don't know what this guy is. Can't pass. Not very good defensively. There's a nothing player, pretty much. Fabio Figueroa, a striker. Only 2.5 star potential ability. But there are worse players in terms of current ability that we've seen so far. So, he's got really good physical ability for his age. And 13 finishing, 13 dribbling. 20 determination. Driven. So if he's ever going to reach his potential, like of all these players I've seen so far, I'm probably more convinced he's going to reach his potential than any of the others. His potential's just not very good. And that's kind of one of the reasons why he is more likely to reach it, because it isn't that high. Sergio Rodriguez, another goalkeeper. Not as good as the other one, but 15 reflexes is really nice. Sweeper keeper with 15 rushing out. Doesn't have much else. I'm going to waste time on him. This guy, only a 1/2 star credibility, 2.5 star potential. It says he's a good talent. Strongly disagree. Diane, a right back, Brazilian. A little bit better current ability than Oscar. Same potential ability though, 2.5 stars. Again, just a youth team player. That's all he's probably ever going to be. Antonio Giallo, another striker. Wow. Those physicals are absurd for a 15-year-old. Unfortunately, he has nothing else to his game. Good off the ball, good work rate. Definitely a pressing forward, even though he doesn't have any aggression or bravery. Yeah, if he had anything else, he could be a stud. But he's just physicals. He's going to be a good lower league player because of those physicals. But he doesn't have the ability mentally or technically to ever be a player at this kind of level. Enrique Stella, another nothing player. Ramau, another pretty nothing player. I'm not even going to look at these 1/2 star. If they're only a 1/2 star, even if they have 3 star potential, they're probably never going to reach. I'll look at Ronaldo. Yeah, for a 1/2 star, he's actually not bad. Almost 2-footed. Decent physically, even though he has 7 jumping reaches and only 5'11" as a center back. 5 concentration. Yeah. Nothing much here. Corral, Casal possibly could be role players for this team at some point. But an okay intent. And we are back for the Europa Conference League quarterfinal first leg against Dinamo Zagreb. We played Braga in the league in between, and we got a pretty good win. 3-1. Pretty comfortable. Tomas with a goal. Gonzalo Plata starting and getting a brace. 8.1. Didn't quite get man of the match. Tabata was also very good. But Plata's been great, and one of his goals was just a ridiculous chip. He's been really good. And because of that, he's actually going to start today. We've got the Porto match coming pretty soon after this Zagreb match. I think Porto's a better team, and I'm more concerned about winning Liga Portugal than I am winning this match over 2 legs. Obviously, I really want to win this competition, but I think I can do it with a little bit weaker squad out there against Zagreb than I can against Porto. So I'm doing a little bit of rotation, not too much, keeping in some good players, but Plata, who's played well, is going to get the start. Abisher is going to get the start over Gonzalez, not because Gonzalez is not a very important player to us, but in terms of goal scoring, obviously our 2 main guys are Tomas and Gonzalez. So if I didn't have both of them in, I couldn't not play both of them. But as long as one's out there, I think we can do all right. So I'm going to go with Abisher just to give Gonzalez a rest. He's a very important player to us. Lugarte also coming in for Polina. I think I trust Lugarte over Bragança a little bit. Polina's been amazing, but I think I'm going to give Lugarte the game. Escaio's coming in at right back. I fully trust him. I don't think there's a huge gap between Escaio and Aguilar. I mean, average ratings, like, Escaio's is actually a little bit better. But obviously he's played some of the easier matches as well, so that there's a little bit of something to that. But normal center back pairing, Mendez I feel like has to start. So Tabata, who's been our best winger, is going to start. So Santos goes to the bench. I mean, I'm actually starting Plata over Douglas Costa. Based on what he's done recently, and because Douglas Costa's coming off an injury, he's not match sharp, I trust Plata more. He's coming in. Gareth Bale's going to go to the bench. Since this is not a league match, and he can come in if he needs to. I don't know if it's right to actually play him over Paulinho on the bench, considering Paulinho's played much fewer matches and he has 2 more goals. But I think mostly just name value, I got to go Bale. It's still Gareth Bale. And he's played well. So I want to give him at least a few games just because he's an icon. You got to keep him on the plate. You got to keep giving him game time. Paulinho obviously is always on the bench for the league matches too, so he gets a little bit more game time. Bale hasn't played in a while. Other than that, strong bench, pretty strong lineup. I still want a good win, and I think we can do it. I want you to pick up where you left off last time out. I know we're playing well, but as the season gets closer to its end, the games get harder. The stakes get higher. And so our performances need to still be better and better every time you touch the pitch. Go out there and give it your all and send these fans, who have been tremendous for us all season, home happy. The first goal is crucial, right? We like to play with positivity. Make sure we're giving ourselves the best chance of a win. Sporting were impressive last time out against Braga. How do you carry that form into this match? We always want to keep playing well and doing the best we can. That's much easier after a good performance. Are you hopeful of the performance today? If we play to the levels I know we're capable of, we'll be fine. I mean, the team hasn't given me a reason to doubt them recently. Like, they've obviously against Benfica, they stepped up to the challenge, and since then they haven't shown me a reason why they can't keep doing that. A drop in performance can always happen. One of these matches where you just can't quite execute on the levels expected of you could definitely happen, but I trust this team right now. Even with a little bit of a rotated lineup, I trust this team. We should be able to get a good win here. We are almost guaranteed. As we throw on goal, Tomas nearly always scores that recently. Good save from the goalkeeper, though. But we're getting close to the end of the season, and Champions League football next season is almost looking guaranteed. We are quite a ways ahead of 4th place. Fortunately, that loss against Braga, or that win against Braga, was pretty good, considering they pipped us to 3rd place last year and knocked us from Champions League football to Europa Conference League football. But I don't know if that necessarily was a bad thing for us. That might actually be, a good thing for us this season. It gave us a little bit easier competition in a time when we needed to learn a new system. Let's go, Abisher. Only his 2nd goal of the season. Obviously, with my first full season here, they needed to learn the system, so getting a little bit easier games and still being able to play in Europe, maybe it's a good thing. And finding who I can trust. Like, I only had 4 games last season. It's hard to know who you can trust through 4 games. Like, I kind of had written off Tomas through those 4 games because he was just not very good. He scored a hat trick in the first game and then was just terrible the last 3 games. But he's really turned on this season. It's been fantastic for us. Ignacio, I figured I'd be able to trust him. He's been great. Nuno Mendes, our midfielders have been great. Tabata has been the surprise of the season. Even over Tomas. I did not expect Tabata to be as good as he has been. So maybe it's a blessing in disguise to be in the Europa Conference League, but I definitely think we're ready for Champions League football next season. Unless we keep getting sent off. It's our 3rd sending off in like a month. We had 1 sending off prior to that that Benfica match 2 matches ago. We had 1 sending off all season. We've had 3 in the last month. What is going on? I don't understand. I kind of want to make the same change. The only difference is we don't have Gonçalves on the pitch, so the whole reason I did it is because we still had a goal-scoring threat with Gonçalves, and he can help out more defensively, but we don't have that, so I think I am going to take off Abisher and stick with Tomas, so we still have a goal-scoring threat. He's not going to help out as much defensively, but I don't think we need his help as much defensively against a little bit weaker team than Benfica. So, another match where we go down a man. Segovia's going to come in. I didn't really change anything here in terms of mentality or instructions against Benfica, and we saw what happened there, so I'm going to stick with what we got. We showed we can still perform well down a man, but we just making things as hard on ourselves as possible. And they're going to have immediate highlight from the free kick. Putting it in for Peric, going for the corner, but hits the post. We get a little lucky there. Not just a little lucky. Oh my gosh. We almost give away that luck immediately. A terrible pass. Gives them the ball in a position where they should have scored. They 100% should have scored there. We have been let off the hook, but there's still a half left, down a man. We scored 2 against Benfica down a man, but I don't expect that to really happen that often. Maybe it could still happen today. I doubt too, but we could still score. It's been a pretty even match, though. And sending off, there's only like 5 or 6, 7 minutes left, so hasn't made a huge impact yet. But why do we keep having to make things so hard on ourselves? This second half's going to be difficult now that we're a man down, but we've done it before. So keep your performance levels up. Sebastian, it is absolutely unacceptable to be sent off for a straight red in a match of this importance in the first half. You've let down your team today. Basically an immediate highlight, 50 seconds in, and it's starting with Dinamo, but if we don't give the ball away, don't make a mistake, we're going to look like we might be able to form an attack, but it's going to be so hard. Without an attacking mid, there's just no one to link our defense to our attack unless Mendez can just run through everybody and score a goal, which he almost does. He actually gets us a corner, but guys, it's going to be extremely difficult for us to do anything going forward right now. But we don't need a goal. Obviously, I'd take a 1-0 advantage. I'd prefer more from the home leg to give us a little bit of leeway, but we really need to try hard not to concede. We really can't lose this match. We can win away from home with 11 men, but it's not going to be easy. And what should have been a comfortable 2 legs for us is now extremely difficult. As they're playing the ball around pretty comfortably defense, like we just don't have the players to harass their attack, their defenders. They can just pass it around for eternity. We do win it back though, but again, I just don't see how we score. Unless Tomas can be played through, which I don't know if he's onside. He is gonna finish it, but my first look, I thought he was off. I think he's not off by much, but I think he's off. I think he just waited a little bit too long. Yeah, he waited a little bit too long to make the pass. He started to make the run, and he just held on. Mateus Nunes held on to it for a few touches too long. By the time he made the pass, he was offside. Good finish, but that's going to be how he scores. Midfielders carrying the ball out of defense and finding a through ball to Tomas, who's very fast. That's about our only chance of scoring. But, saying that, how many shots do we have this second half? We have more shots this second half than we did in the first. It's 7 shots to 1. This team, except for that first match where we went down against Benfica, the way we've responded after going down a man has just been amazing. We've actually almost gotten better. We've already made 1 sub, but got some tired players out there. Chapata, but I can't take him off. Even though I probably should, so he's fit for the Porto match. I just don't know if I can. 1 more goal would be so huge. And conceding would be so huge. Tomas hasn't played well, but I don't think bringing on Gareth Bale, like I said, the only chance I think we have of scoring is a through ball to Pacey Tomas. Bale can't do that. Bale doesn't have any physical ability anymore. So I just don't see how he helps this team at all. Doesn't have work rate either, so kind of need that from our striker right now. I might bring on Nuno Santos for Plata, give us a little bit. Plata's not playing well. I want to score another goal, so I'm going to bring in an upgrade. I might take off Lugarte as well. Ignacio has also been very bad, as has Giallo. I'll save the last sub, though. We're only in the 71st minute. Knowing how this game has gone, we're probably going to get an injury. So, hold on a little bit longer, but I want another goal. I said an injury was probable. It's like I just knew. It was just written in the cards that we were going to get an injury. Fortunately, it's not a key player. It is backup Manuel Lugarte. If we're going to lose anyone that's currently on the pitch, he's the one. Everyone else is at least a starter, or like Segovia, which we don't have another center back, so we'd be screwed. I guess Pelini could play center back, but yeah, he is. I guess it's Gaio, but he's pretty important too. So Could have been worse. I almost considered making the sub earlier. Maybe we could have saved it from injury, but maybe Pelini would have got injured instead. So I don't know. I'm still going to go for this goal, though. I still want another goal. We've done well to not concede. We've done well not to allow them to attack us at all, really. They still only had one shot. They still only had one shot in the entire second half where they've been up a man the entire time. It looks like neither team's going to be able to score. It's going to finish 1-0. It could have been a lot worse. A lot worse. So, just another freaking sending off. I know I have get stuck in on, but they've played over half a season with get stuck in on, and in that time they got one red card. I haven't just suddenly put it on. They just suddenly started being idiotic. So I can't really blame get stuck in for why I'm suddenly getting a lot of red cards. It's just players are trying to lose matches almost. Like, it's unbelievable. A good win for us. Well done. Again, you were put in a very tough position. But again, you all rose to the occasion. Fantastic performance, especially defensively. Everyone worked so hard, and they only had one shot up a man in that entire second half. I'm very proud of all of you. Morale seems really high right now. How far can it take you? This is the sort of thing we need to build on and take advantage of. If we can cultivate a strong team spirit, we'll be on to something special. We have a quick update on Manuel Lugarte's injury. Twisted ankle. I don't think it's going to be that bad then, since it's just a twisted ankle. I'm hopeful he'll be all right. Should maybe be a couple weeks, but I think we avoided anything super serious. 3 to 6, actually a little bit more than I thought. I thought it might be 2. I guess twisted ankles for footballers is pretty bad, but 3 to 6, like a month with a twisted ankle, that seems a little much. Decent win though, 1-0. I think that still puts us in a pretty good spot for the next leg. We still should be the favorites, even away from home. And if we can stay with 11 men the entire match, I make us strong favorites. So I'm obviously going to fine Caceres for that. It was an obvious red card, so I'm not going to appeal. Fine for 2 weeks. And there's actually not going to be any games in between what you just saw in next episode. We've got Porto coming up in the league next. I feel like I have to show that. They're third. I was thinking about this earlier, and for the league, I think we've almost guaranteed a top 2 spot. We've got a really big gap on Porto right now with the game in hand. So if we were ever to get to third, I don't think we can fall to fourth. Our gap's just too big. We're not going to fall apart that bad. But if we were going to fall to third, it'd start with the loss to next episode of Porto. So the match is pretty important. I feel like if we win that, top 2 is almost guaranteed. Still, between us and Benfica, anything can happen. Especially, like I said, our run-in is not that easy to the end of this season. Theirs really is. So I still think we're going to be good for Champions League group stage. But I want to win this league. In the first full season here, I want to win this league. I think we've done good enough this season. Tomas, after starting the season so poor, is the top goal scorer in the league. The way we responded, especially this second half of the season, has been fantastic. Just a very good season from us. So we've got Porto coming up next, and we got to show the Dinamo Zagreb game because we didn't finish it today. Maybe we could have if we had 11 men the whole time. The way we played, I would have made us favorites to get a couple more goals. So yeah, next episode, Porto Zagreb. That's going to be the end of this episode, though. If you made it this far, why don't you like the video, subscribe, and click the bell. The links to all my socials and my Twitch are in the description. I really appreciate all your support. Thank you all for joining me, and I'll see you next time.